Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Diamond Cooper Show, coming to you live over the digital airwaves of YouTube from my hometown of Washington, D.C. on this windy, snowy morning. Good to be with you again. I'll be with you for a short minute and go over a couple of things before I give you the juice for the playoffs. It's a special Saturday playoff edition. Thank you to everybody who has liked and subscribed. And for those of you who are just joining me for the first time, please hit that like, that subscribe button, and support your brother. So let's get right into it with the first segment. For real, and I got to start with this because as a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, I'm getting sick of hearing from Jerry Jones, man. He just needs to stop talking. If you wanted to win, you would have hired a leader of men years ago. And I even used to make a case for him, having conversations with family, mainly my mom. But now I'm with moms on this because Jerry ass can't get out of the way. He wants too much attention and he wants to have his hands on the team in every facet. But I'm sick of it. Starving for attention. Ain't won shit in 28 years. And now you retain Mike McCarthy and you want to keep coming out talking about you think we have championship culture. McCarthy saying he think we got championship culture. Where? We're out of the playoffs. Again, where's the championship culture? We're not even in contention for a championship any longer. Our season is over with. I thinking about a quote from a Hall of Famer, Shannon Sharp. He said, the blindest man isn't the one who can't see. He's the one who chooses not to see. Meaning you see what the problem is. You know what the issue is, but you don't do anything different. Insanity, just putting blinders over your own eyes. The team was ill-prepared. The team was out-coached once again. So that's the problem, and that's what needs to be fixed. But you kept this coach. So you need to go ahead and take a back seat. Stop talking so damn much. Because right now, all you got is the richest franchise in the world with no wins in the Super Bowl in 28 years. Not even an NFC Championship appearance. Jerry, please, just stop, man. Don't nobody want to hear from you. Cowboy fans, the ones who are not delusional, don't want to hear from you. You're 82 years old. However long you have left, you got to do something different. Or we still are going to be in the same situation when it's time for you to get called home. Sit back in the cut. Stop running your mouth because we ain't won shit, man. It ain't affecting your bottom line, though. You still getting your money. Cowboys worth $9 billion. You're still the richest franchise. So your bottom line ain't affected. So you all right. But everybody else isn't. And we don't want to keep hearing from you. Moving right along. I don't know if y'all noticed, but RG3 and his former head coach, Jay Gruden, are beefing online right now. Jay Gruden came on and made a comment talking about how Jalen Hurts was mistreated and how he wouldn't have done a player like that. So RG3 replied with a picture with his glasses down like this, with a caption like, say what? Because, Jay Gruden basically had issues as far as coaching RG3. So Jay Gruden winds up coming back and saying that RG3 wasn't prepared and Kirk Cousins was better than him. Like, really? Now, your last name Gruden, you probably don't want to be in the news, if you know what I mean. From what happened with your brother, you might want to be silent. And when you have a resume of 35, 49, and 1 as a head coach in Washington, 4 out of the 6 years that you were there, you had a losing record. Your best record was 9-7. You made the playoffs, but you were 1 and done. And you did that with Kirk Cousins, who you thought was better, but you didn't get a better result. RG3 put it out there and said that he could even come on his podcast, but he was going to tell the truth about everything. And he referenced a press conference after a game where it was made to believe that RG3 put his teammates under the bus, but he really was challenging them. And he says he did this at the behest of Jay Gruden. But the next day, Jay Gruden basically dissected him and broke him down and made it seem like he was the problem and he was throwing his teammates under the bus. But if we remember, that wasn't a situation where he was trying to challenge his teammates. He wasn't throwing them under the bus. He was trying to get them to elevate their play, because he said that all great quarterbacks have the players around them step up and play great as well. So that got blown out of proportion. So now RG3 offering to bring him on his show and was like, I'm not going to cuss him out. I'm not going to call him out of his name or any of that, but I'm going to speak the facts. Because Jay Gruden said, not only did he say Kirk Cousins was better, but he said Baltimore didn't want him and Cleveland didn't want him either. And, he really going in. But Jay Gruden, I don't really think you have a lot to say based on your own resume. Because as a player, when Robert Griffin III came into the league, he took the league by storm. And when he was healthy before he got injured, he was a much better player than you were a coach. I love it, man. People utilizing their platforms to put the truth out there, especially the brothers that get mistreated at the quarterback position. Because remember, we were just talking about the unfair narrative about Lamar Jackson. RG3 caused some of that too, because if it wasn't for injuries, that year, nobody really could stop that offense. So if he doesn't get hurt, he could have been a rookie Super Bowl participant, maybe champion, because nobody that season stopped him and Alfred Morris with their read option. Pierre Garçon going down. It was magic, man. And I had called my mom when they drafted him and was like, look, we got a problem. At the time, they was called the Redskins, now they're the Commanders. I was like, well, we got a problem. They just drafted this young boy out of Baylor. I seen him put up 70 points in college, won the Heisman. I seen him run. He run like a damn horse. We had a problem. And lo and behold, we had a problem with him that year, both times. Wasn't pretty. Jay Gruden's coaching wasn't pretty. I think you need to go ahead and fall back, Mr. Gruden. You're not really in the position to talk about somebody who actually exuded greatness, even though it was a short period because of injury. In your 6 years as a head coach, there was no semblance of greatness. You might have lost this one, Mr. Gruden. And you might want to stay out the news because the last name isn't ringing the right kind of bells these days. A couple of more notes. The Chicago Bears interviewed Cliff Kingsbury for the offensive coordinator position. Cliff Kingsbury, the former head coach for the Arizona Cardinals, basically was known for his offense of mind when he was coaching at Texas Tech back in the day when Patrick Mahomes was in college. Presently, he was an offensive assistant at USC, and they bringing him in. He's a good offensive coach. Maybe not a great leader of men as a head coach, but he's definitely a good offensive coach because the offense wasn't really bad. Kyler Murray kept dealing with injuries, but him and DeAndre Hopkins was looking good in that offense. They just couldn't get over the hump. They really couldn't stop anybody either. But now they bringing him in. He was at USC. Caleb Williams, who won the Heisman last year, not this year. This year, Jaden Daniels out of LSU won. Is projected to be the number one pick. Chicago has a number one pick. Does this move, they're going to move on from Justin Fields? Is Atlanta going to get in the mix? They saying Atlanta might try to get Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins basically came out and had some glowing things to say about Bill Belichick, talking about respect level and everything. But could this mean that Justin Fields on the move? Where would he go? Where y'all want to see him go? I want to see him go to Atlanta. I think you put Justin Fields in Atlanta, you got something there. Also, maybe Pittsburgh. Even though Mike Tomlin basically committed to Kenny Pickett already, it's a possibility that I think that it makes sense to get Justin Fields because it's an upgrade and he can move his legs. He can move the pocket. He can run. You got a good running game with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Pat Frymouth. You put him in that offense. Different dynamic. That's a tough one, man. Like I said before, I think Chicago should get Marvin Harrison Jr. and keep Justin Fields, but hiring Cliff Kingsbury, little attachment connection to Caleb Williams, it's a possibility that Chicago might go with Caleb Williams. I don't necessarily think it's going to be the best move, but we'll see. Also, Antonio Pierce was officially announced as the head coach of Las Vegas. Congrats to him. He earned it. Pulled the team together after they fired Josh McDaniels. They played better down the stretch. Weren't going to make the playoffs. They were a couple games back, but he got them boys playing inspired. A lot of them came out and said that they support him. A couple of them said they didn't want to play for nobody else. Devontae Adams recently came out and said that nobody came into the building with a smile before he started coaching. So obviously, he created a culture in a short span, half of a season, and now he got the job. So congratulations to Antonio Pierce, and I think he's going to do good down there. The Raiders need a quarterback too. Maybe they get Justin Fields. Who knows? Another note, which is crazy, the average ticket price for the Tampa Bay Detroit game tomorrow is $1,100. Lord. So that's what happens when you win. With success come higher prices to go see your team. Concessions probably going to rise. Excuse me, and everything. So $1,100. So the average price before was 60% less. But now you want to go watch a playoff game in Detroit, second home playoff game in Ford Field in history. They had the first last week, and they had a good game against the Rams, won by a point, move on. $1,100 a ticket. Boy, I tell you, with success come higher prices for the fans. That's how these teams get their money, from the fans, showing up, rooting the teams on, etc. Good God Almighty, man. If I was in Detroit and I could afford it and I was a fan, of course I'd be there. You know they're going to be there. They're going to fill the house up. But boy, I tell you, it's crazy how inflation happens by the moment, especially like in the playoffs in the NBA floor seats. Good God Almighty. Depending on where you at, you paying stacks. Kudos to Detroit, though. They made the playoffs, and that is bringing some more money into the city. Don't know if they're going to win the game by the spread, but we'll get into that in just 1 minute. To the jewels for the day, so that y'all can go ahead and get ready to get your bets in. For today, if you just want to go with one team and get that money, take the Baltimore Ravens. It's time for the Cinderella rookie story of C.J. Stroud to come to an end. He's going up against a different machine. Those big plays that he like to get, I'm sure they're probably going to try a couple of shots, take a couple of shots. But it's hard to get big plays against Baltimore's defense. Ask Detroit, ask San Francisco. It's hard to do. Take Lamar Jackson in Baltimore to cover the spread at home against Houston. If you like San Francisco, or if you like taking two picks and you don't just want to take one, I'm going to give you a nugget here that some people might not recognize about betting lines. Now, in the San Francisco-Green Bay game, it started at 10. Okay, the money was coming in. A lot of the money was coming in on Green Bay. It moved down to 9.5. You know, which is standard. The money on that team, the spread goes that direction so that you don't keep getting the same amount of points with that team. However, at this point, 67% of the money is still on Green Bay, but the line went back to 10. I'll give you a little hint. Last week, the Cowboys were favored by 7.5. 71% of the money came in on the Cowboys, but the line went down to 7. You with me? So if you want to go with 2, take both number 1 seeds today to win by double digits. Baltimore's the jewel. If you want a second one, take San Francisco, and then you get some 2-pick money. Moving on to tomorrow's matchups, Baker Mayfield at Detroit. Right now, Detroit is favored by 6. Tampa Bay's defense has only allowed 13 points a game over the last month. Detroit's offense in the second half didn't do well. Raheem Morris made some adjustments, and the offense didn't do well in the second half. They was able to get a stop, and they was able to make a play to get a first down and run the clock out at the end. But they didn't really do a whole lot of production. And Tampa Bay's defense been balling. And what we know about the playoffs, defense travels. Excuse me. Now, Tampa Bay's running game hasn't been all that great or consistent. And Detroit is pretty good against the run. What's up, Ill Bill? Well, you like Buffalo? Okay, then. I'm going to get to that game next. 63% of the money is on Detroit, but the line went down. Take Baker to touchdown, make a +6. I think Detroit might win by a field goal, 3 or 4. Tampa Bay tomorrow, +6. And then the final game of the weekend, Kansas City +2.5 at Buffalo. Is this legacy game for Josh Allen? Yeah. This is the biggest game in his career right now. You finally got him at home. You was the hottest team, one of the hottest teams, because Green Bay was hot going in the stretch, and so was Tampa Bay. But you won your last 6 to get in. You've earned your way to win the division and get this game at home. But that narrative about Patrick Mahomes not having a playoff game on the road is ridiculous. That man done won 2 Super Bowls and been to 3. He done won away from home in the playoffs. It hasn't been on nobody else's home turf, but there's really no advantage outside of the fact that they got to make adjustments on offense to their play calling because of the crowd, which is not something I think is going to really bother Patrick Mahomes. Close game, but I'm taking Kansas City. The jewel for tomorrow is Kansas City. But if you like 2 picks, you take Tampa Bay with Baker, the touchdown maker, and Kansas City. So I got to disagree with you there. I think Josh Allen going to give them more opportunities. And Kansas City, even though they had a horrible game, they would have beat Buffalo if Marquez Valdez-Scantling catches that bomb. So Baltimore today for the jewel. And if you like 2 picks, take Baltimore and San Francisco to win by double digits. Kansas City tomorrow night is the jewel. But if you like 2 picks, you take Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Before I get on out of here, man, and let y'all get to y'all wonderful Saturday and get prepared for the games. Go get your snacks, go get your drinks, your cigars, your roll-ups. Got to shout out Eddie Robb and my man Troy. Welcome home. Glad you brothers back out here in society. Welcome back. Wish you both the best. And the homie Woody, a great meeting of the minds yesterday, man. And we're going to definitely make some of these things happen as long as we keep waking up and breathing this wonderful air. Thank you again for joining me. Had to get with you quickly. Give you some of these Jews. Enjoy the playoffs. And I'll see you Monday. Peace and love.